that big group of guys who didn't practice
Is
yesterday?
there a big group?
Yeah, well, 9 seems like
Okay.
it's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. Will any of those guys get out there today, do you think?
Yeah, a couple guys will come back in limited capacity.
Who are those?
Expected is Van Ness, Christian, Wicks. Expected.
Is that a big surprise to you that Watson might be able to practice?
No, I mean he's fighting to play for sure, but ultimately it's just going through the process and kind of seeing where he's at, and then he's got to prove it.
Practicing is part of the process just to see where he's at, or just to see?
Yeah, I think he's improving. Certainly, he's improving. So we'll just see how he's feeling out there.
Obviously, there's no making up for what Micah can do, but you feel good about your overall group. And when we talked about Rashawn and Van Ness yesterday, but with Sorrell and Cox and
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys are going to work hard, and I know we're going to get everything we can out of them. And I think we're going to have a good plan.
Yesterday, when you talked about breaking down with the team, there's 4 or 5 plays here that could have made a difference in Denver. When you come out of a game like Denver, is there any concern about a little lack of a confidence in your team as to how far you can go? Is that something you have?
No, I don't think so. I think every week, again, a new challenge, new opportunity, and you just got to take the film and take the plays for what they are, and try to learn from them, and try to do better the next time around. And but as far as, we're not focused on anything other than what's right in front of us, and that's the Chicago Bears.
Hey, Matt, without giving anything away, once you get to week 16, is it enough time in the season to have significant changes to how you play on both sides of the ball, or do you just kind of have to go with what you've been doing regardless of who's in there?
I think it's, at this time of the year and the magnitude of these games, it's whatever it takes. So whatever we think we can do and push our guys to go out there. Ultimately, it does come down to your ability to go out there and execute. But whatever we think that we can get them to go out there and feel confident in and go out there and execute, I think that's what we'll do.
Matt, obviously you have a lot on your plate this week and the injury list is long, but what do you feel like your biggest challenge is just to get ready for Saturday?
Well, I think it's just the quality of opponent that we're going against. I mean, saw him 2 weeks ago, saw what type of game it was. Went right down to the end, obviously. And I felt like we were in control for the most part in the first half. And I mean, it can flip quickly in our league in regards to how fast the game can kind of go the other way. But what was so encouraging was our ability to respond, when they tie the ball game up.
you joked with Rob a couple weeks ago about the turnaround of the Bears. You only use half your game plan to help you out.
Yeah.
That was pretty funny. But seriously,
Thanks, Bill.
Seriously, what is the challenge? Or is it maybe easier because you've put in all the film work? I guess, what has this been like with the turnaround?
I mean, I think it's the same for both teams. You're just trying to find ways to, you're always trying to find ways to scheme people up, but ultimately we got to go out there and just make sure we do the routine things correctly over and over again, which is hard when you're playing good people. And they got really good coaches and really good personnel, and that is a challenge.
Is the film work easier just because you've
I would
already
say
done
there's less to comb through, absolutely, because you already kind of did it one time. You're certainly looking at the game that we played against each other. You're certainly looking at what they did versus Cleveland, but outside of that, I mean, there's nothing more to really look at. I mean, you definitely go back and look at some of this stuff, but there's just not as much that we haven't seen, I would say.
You guys are very familiar with Ben Johnson from playing Detroit over the years. Where do you see the effect that he's had on the Bears compared to the last several years of Bears teams you've faced?
Yeah, I don't want to get into comparisons, but I will say that I think that it's what they do offensively is very sound, and it's a good scheme, and it marries well. I think he's done a great job of putting the quarterback in a lot of great positions. And then the quarterback's gone out there and executed. So I think their run game's been definitely a catalyst for the offense in terms of what they've been able to do. They do a great job with both those backs. I think the offensive line, they come off the ball. They're physical. They've upgraded, obviously, the talent there. And then they got weapons on the perimeter, both at the tight end position and at the wide receiver position. So when you combine good players with good scheme, generally speaking, you get good results.
What did you think of all the reaction to the handshake last game?
I don't think anything of it, to be honest with you. So,
Regardless if it's the Bears, the Broncos, whatever the defense, how would you describe the difference for your offense having Christian on the field and not having him?
well, I mean, you've seen the impact that. I'm not stating anything that anybody hasn't seen. I mean, he's a very impactful player in terms of what he does, and I've talked about it, I feel like many times now, just what he brings from a versatility standpoint in terms of you can line him inside, you can line him outside. He's obviously a force in the pass game, but also in the run game. So it's just the whole package. But he's an explosive playmaker that we got to try to find ways to get him the football.
When you don't have the dynamic field stretching ability that he gives you, does that change things in how you have to approach the offense?
Not necessarily. I think if there's one thing that we have is we got a lot of confidence in everybody in that room, and I think there's certain guys that have their own set of strengths where you try to put them in certain spots, but I don't think there's anybody in that room that can't pick up that slack.
And after doing what you did against the blitz against Detroit and Chicago, did you see Denver alter its plan, like blitz less than what you would have expected? I mean, did that change anything, do you think? The fact that you guys did it? Beat it?
I think Denver was going to do what they were going to do, and they did a really good job, certainly in the second half of getting pressure on our quarterback, and I don't think we got the ball out quite as quickly, and a lot of that is by design in terms of some of the play calls. Probably could have given some opportunities where he's spitting the ball out a little bit faster. That's why it was so important for us to stay ahead of the sticks when you're playing a pass rush like that, so you don't have to call those longer developing plays.
So when you win on some blitz calls, do you expect you won't see them again, same ones?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think every play is a little bit different. I think it's always that chess match, that guessing game, and you're trying to stay one step ahead. And sometimes you'll get them, and sometimes they'll get you. It's football. So, and especially with coordinators that kind of Rolodex and will call different things, it makes it a little bit harder to kind of pinpoint exactly what you're going to get.
With the penalties that you had last week, kind of moving forward here, how do you get rid of some of that stuff? I'm not talking about holding, but like the unsportsmanlike or late hits or whatever.
Yeah, the unsportsmanlike really bother me. I mean, I take those ones personal, because we can't allow, football is a game of emotion, but you can't allow the emotion of the game to put you in a spot where you go out and do something that costs the team. So, I get it. We had two, I believe, right?
Right, yeah, I know the Bullard had the late hit.
And I think that was just that was one of those plays where I think it was more or less the position the player was in. You can't dump a guy when his feet are off the ground. I didn't think it was like a crazy egregious penalty. I was disappointed with the JJ penalty, because that's what I'm talking about. The emotion of the game, felt like he was held, didn't get a call, and then he took it out on the punter. And we can't do that. That's not winning football. So certainly address that with the guys. I think you can't, especially in the magnitude of those types of games. Now, was it a difference in the game? I would say no, but you got to be disciplined enough, and you got to control yourself. I mean, we had a costly penalty last time we played these guys. So we had a couple of them, but one that I feel like is within our control, and we got to be disciplined. And if guys see a guy losing his mind, they got to grab him.
Along those lines, I don't know if you'd agree, but I felt like the procedural stuff, you'd really cleaned that up the last few weeks. What do you think the difference was in Denver for some of those things in return?
Well, yeah, I think some of it, we had an illegal shift. I just wish there was some consistency in how the league calls that. Sometimes it's tighter than others. They had a couple of illegal shifts that didn't get called, so it is what it is. But yeah, we got to be better than that. We got to pay attention. We need urgency out of the huddle. It always starts, and I tell the guys this, it starts with the play call coming to the huddle, and then getting to the line of scrimmage, especially in a road environment where it's tough to communicate with time to operate. And when we're laid out the huddle, it rushes everything. And I think that's a byproduct, or those penalties were a byproduct of some of that stuff. So the point of emphasis is the urgency in terms of getting into the huddle, hearing the call, and then getting the line of scrimmage. And then you better know your plan inside and out.
After the game, Sean said he wanted to thank the fans, and last week he'd also talked about maybe the scoreboard crew helping out a little bit, but he said, I think we got some penalties today because of it, like the juice that they had.
Yeah, I mean, like that was a great atmosphere for the National Football League, and they did a great job, and I'm sure it's going to be much the same on Saturday night in Chicago.
Did your guys kind of lose control in that beginning in the pregame when you had that scuffle? Did that lead to some of the emotion and bad?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that kind of happens quite a bit. I'm not. It shouldn't happen, but it does happen. People just got to keep their heads. Like, I get it. It's an emotional game. There's a lot invested in this, but at the end of the day, you got to keep your poise.
Is that a sort of a message with going into this game?
Absolutely. That's a pretty consistent message, I would say, every game, but you're talking about a rivalry game, an NFC North division rival. It was chippy last time we played, so I would say that's a pretty good indicator of how it's going to be. And we just got to make sure we maintain our poise. And I'm sure they're saying the exact same thing I'm saying.
Matt, everything you described about the game from last time, as far as the chippiness, the way it was close, I mean, do you enjoy the rivalry being at this level right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably more fun for you guys. It's obviously a challenge for both teams involved, but that's what makes this league so great is the competitive balance. Watching two really good teams late in December go at it for a lot at stake.